Welcome back to Chainsaw Man Reviews. Every week, we take a closer look at the newest chapter of Tastuki Fujimoto's masterpiece, Chainsaw Man. This week, we are taking a closer look at Chainsaw Man Part 2, Chapter 24, or Chapter 121. It hasn't been that long since we last reconvened, as this week we only had to wait a week for the new chapter. But unfortunately, we have to wait 2 weeks again. I know, but just trust the process and Fujimoto. He's not doing this because he's lazy. If anything, the man is a workaholic with how good these past few chapters have been. Anyways, in terms of our Chainsaw Man newsletter, there isn't really a whole ton to talk about other than Goodbye Eri, Fujimoto's most recent one-shot. Feel free to pre-order it as it's on Amazon and all the other places right now. Let's get into the chapter, but before we do, if you want to stay up to date on all things Chainsaw Man, make sure you subscribe for more Chainsaw Man related content. Anyways, chapter 121 picks up with Asa and Yoshida sitting in the devil hunting club room after Yoshida had asked Asa to keep him company after she thought she got ditched by Denji. She starts to get her hopes up that Yoshida might have a thing for her since, well, why else would we be having coffee with her? He asks her what she was mumbling about, and she says about how being alone and not having anybody else to care for is better for you than actually being with people. He says that he agrees, saying what Mitaka said but in more logistical terms, saying that building a relationship with somebody is too much of a risk since said relationship could collapse at any moment. For some reason, Mitaka thinks his monologue about how being lonely is good is actually a confession of his love for her. We'll talk about this more in a second. Instead, he tells Mitaka that she should stay away from Denji. He says that he won't tell her why, but just to stay away. This was a weird interaction. The more we learn about Yoshida, it seems the less and less we know. It's pretty obvious that he's had some messed up stuff happen to him in the past. I mean, come on, it's Chainsaw Man. But it seems like that it's still affecting him to this day. I thought him always having a slight smile on his face was just Fujimoto trying to portray him as cool, not as mentally broken as he's suggesting. My guess is that he's led a similar life to Denji, where everybody who he's ever cared for has either left or died at some point, and the only people around were those who groomed him to become a devil hunter. Every time we peel a layer off, trying to reveal his core, we find out just how deep he is as a character, and I love it. Or he could just be the Death Devil, but even then, he's still pretty cool. Anyways, Denji and Nayuta are still at his apartment, with Denji now down in the dumps. He says that he doesn't feel like being Chainsaw Man anymore, since if all the ladies figure out he's Chainsaw Man, Nayuta will just cockblock him. He worries that he's gonna be single for the rest of his life, but Nayuta won't allow it. She says if everybody knows that he's Chainsaw Man, then everybody will love him, which is way more love than one girl can give him. So he decides to be Chainsaw Man, which is good timing because Nayuta says she smells the nastiest devil she's ever smelled. I don't really know how to feel about this interaction. If this were any other manga, I wouldn't care, but with Chainsaw Man, I feel like I have to be a little skeptical. It seems that Nayuta, like Makima, is a big fan of Chainsaw Man. They have a lot of parallels, like Makima not liking that Reize was trying to steal Denji from her, and Nayuta felt like Mitaka was trying to steal Denji from her as well. Makima ever really only saw Chainsaw Man, and never actually saw Denji for who he was. Now Nayuta really wants Denji to continue to be Chainsaw Man. I know that I might be reading too much into this, but I do because Nayuta might be harboring some of Makima's old habits. Though now thinking back on it, my point might be moot because she has no reason to want anything, and it doesn't seem like she's been trying to manipulate Denji. Though still, this is Chainsaw Man, and pretty much anything can happen. Anyways, we get to see Mitaka walking home, also down in the dumps. I feel that it was pretty obvious, but Mitaka doesn't actually believe any of the stuff that she said about how she prefers being alone. She wants to have friends in a relationship, but her problem is that she actively pushes people away because she doesn't feel like they like her the same way she likes them. She falsely thought this about Denji when she couldn't turn him into a weapon, and now she doesn't even remember Denji taking her on a second date. At first she blamed the world, saying that it was Denji who was the idiot for not liking her, like at the aquarium when he didn't want to listen to her exposition dump. She just did that with Yoshida, where she jumped to conclusions, thinking that he was in love with her, but now she's disappointed. She's finally realizing that maybe it was unfair to blame the world, and maybe it was just her. She doesn't really know what to do, or feel like that there's any reason to keep going. This is an extremely sad predicament that Mitaka finds herself in, one that I think a lot of people have been in as well. As much as we could talk about Yoshida gay death devil theories, I think that this is what makes Fujimoto such an amazing writer and what makes Chainsaw Man so special. Its ability to display human emotion in the most realistic ways. When somebody watches all of their friends and family die right in front of them, they're not going to unlock a new transformation and take down the bad guy in style. They're going to have some serious mental trauma and have to go through that trauma in a long, painful process. Chainsaw Man is showing that progress and the states that people can come out of that process in. Sometimes in Denji's case, it's a good way, or in possibly Yoshida's case, a bad way. Mitaka seems to be somewhere in the middle, where she's better off than she was before, since at least she's talking to people now. But now she realizes that when she wasn't talking to people, she didn't constantly feel so defeated. So what does she do? I think that we're going to get that answer in the next few chapters, as a body drops from the sky and hits the ground next to Mitaka. Yoru quickly realizes that something's off and tells Mitaka to stay away. She looks up to see an entire apartment complex of people staring right back at her with blank faces. I love it when Fujimoto does this creepy stuff. As for what devil this could be, I feel like it's a brand new one because it's probably the same one that Nayuda had smelled, and she made a big hoopla about how she's never smelt it before. I think that this could be another devil in cahoots with Fami who is trying to get what she wants, which we still don't 100% know what she wants yet. Possibly our Chainsaw Man Black that was introduced like almost 10 chapters ago that we have had no word on since could finally make an appearance. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys this week. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.